folks, welcome back for another episode of Our Journeys, and this has been a true trial to get to you as anybody who was actually looking for this video, which I do apologize if you, obviously you don't set your clock by it, but if you're kind of just counting on that video on Monday morning, obviously this is getting to you on Monday, but it is certainly not in the AM, so I do apologize to anybody who was actually looking forward to this and either thinks it didn't happen or is, you know, just missed out on the content earlier today because that's when you normally watch it. But it has been trying. Starting yesterday, you know, I was going to record this, but I was in a bit of a funk. And that's the best way I can put it. It's one thing where you're not really sick, but you just feel meh. Like you feel very languid. Like all your movements feel languid. You don't have a headache, but you have like a head throb. It's like your head doesn't feel great, but it's not like a pain. It's just kind of like bleh, it's like a dull ache. So it's a dull headache. Or a dull headache, or a head dull ache. I don't know. Clearly, still something is going on up there, and it just felt really sluggish in general. And it was just not a good. I was like, I can't. I'm not going to be able to do worth a darn. And I'm not doing a great job right now, but I'm better off now than I was yesterday. Trust me. So anyway, I get in here, and the first thing, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. The microphone was not operating correctly, and I still don't know what the problem is. I just, by resetting everything to default, I was able to kind of reconstruct my settings, and somehow it's working now. I forgot to put the green screen up, and I forgot to turn on the recording for the game. So I did this entire commentary for a great game from Yum36. He finished off a nice game with Empire, and that was how I was starting the video. And it was about halfway through that, and I had gone on this amazing monologue. And here's the other, so this amazing monologue, and then I realized, oh crap, I hadn't hit start recording. And for some reason, it never occurred to me that it's not only that it's not recording the audio, it's also not recording the screen. So in my mind, I was like, well, I may have inadvertently had a solution, because just 2 days ago, I realized I was looking at the camera. And I'm like, why am I using the onboard audio? I'm using this audio from this microphone here, but there's onboard audio on the camera that is very soft and echoey, because it's the little mic that's somewhere on the camera there just so it has something, but you can't really hear anything. Nice, Poof, yes, nice. Dynamic and diabolical. Brilliant, that was gorgeous, actually. And that is a word I'm going to use to describe my congratulations for him. So, oh, there we go. I'm going to create a new GG thing. It's going to be GGG. Good, gorgeous game. That's what it's going to be. Yep, that's going to be a thing now. So, GGG, folks. GG means you won. You know, good game, you won, well done. GGG or G3? G cubed? Played it wrong, but I'm gonna. Well, it looked damn good from where I was standing, Poof. Yes, so I'll stick with it. Well, I would have considered. Okay, never mind. All right, so it's saying not only did you win, so GG on the win, but you looked damn good doing it. So I mean, I just. Like, the synergy on that was pretty darn good. So here we go. A little bit longer game here with Rick Deckard against Lavrentievaux. So anyway, getting back to the story. Getting back to the story. But I was like, but there's a shotgun mic that comes with the camera. It's part of the package. And it's not great. And especially because it's behind one of the monitors, because of the way I have this all set up, but it's still better than the onboard. And I was like, yeah, so maybe I'm not going to use that ideally, but if I'm in a pinch, something happens and this audio craps out for whatever reason, I should be able to use that microphone is going to give me better results than this one, or than the one that's on there. So I just plugged it in, so it's now using that as a default. And so I thought, oh my gosh, maybe my big brain decision to mount the microphone has paid off, because I forgot to activate the audio for this, but I can still save the game. Completely blanking on the fact that it wasn't just not recording the audio. This audio gets run through OBS. OBS is also what captures the game footage. So not only do I have me in front of the actual background, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it does make it a little bit harder for me to be out of the way. But so I was like, oh, but I want to take the footage out and make sure that the audio from that shotgun mic actually is okay. And that's when it dawns on me as I'm plugging in, wait a minute, it doesn't matter because I didn't capture the game. So you have my commentary, more or less. It was actually okay, but unfortunately I've got a ceiling fan that's going, and that has no. It has a windscreen on it, but I can't put it on there because there's not enough space between it. It's a thing. Anyway, bottom line being, it wasn't great, but it would have worked. But I didn't have the gameplay. There was nothing actually capturing this game. So I spent all that time. I waited for the file to transfer, did the whole whatever thing, and then only to realize that it didn't matter how the audio could have been the most stellar thing in the world. You're not here just for the audio. You're here for the game. So, anywho, that's where I'm at now, and I've had a couple false starts since then. So it's been a trial, and I don't say that to garner your pity, but just to say it's been a little rough. And hopefully your Monday has not been like mine. And in fact, what was that saying? The worst day of fishing is better than the best day of fishing. God, see what I mean, folks? The worst day of fishing is better than the best day of working. That's the idea. So my minor trials and tribulations, and unfortunately a good game from Yum Yum, is nowhere near as bad as even a pleasant morning at the office, unless you really love your job, in which case, I have yet to work a job that I've enjoyed more than this, even when it's a rough day. So here we go. We got a nice win from Rick Deckard. So we got a beautiful GG from one of our friends here. So you know what? Nice. Okay, we got. Let me give. Is he gone now? Dang! Everybody like they play and then they run away. Oh no, there he is. Poof yes was the one that gave us the gorgeous good game. Which actually, so that helps kind of transition into what I did want to talk about. What I talked about in the first game that I was playing, or the first recording, where I didn't record the actual game. Ooh, looking pretty dire here for A-Ross.
I'll have your head.
Too late for you.
That might help. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Unfortunately, though, that breakthrough is a problem. Now, does have Dawn Fang. Does he have anything that... Oh, yeah, he could use Dawn Fang here. It's going to heal for 4 or 5? 5. So it gets him up to 13. But... yeah. That's going to enable him to clear the board. For the most part. It's going to leave 4 damage on the board. And maybe he's going to throw it on, the Dwarven Spider. That will take care of that. No breakthrough to worry about. So, unfortunately now, it's a Dusk Fang, so he's not going to be able to get health out of it, which I'm pretty sure is why he's running it in this deck. I mean, it's great that it's multi-use, so if he was to go on the aggressive, then Dusk Fang will be a great tool to have, but for right now, I think he's... But, yeah, so here are the people perhaps trying to become the Centurion, and wow, what are the odds? What are the odds? So now it's much more precarious. Gear work? Now, that just spits out a whole bunch of gear work. The problem is, as I understand it, he's still got that breakthrough, which is... that may be it. Unless you can get rid of that somehow. Am I missing something? I think it's because essentially his opponent has 9 damage, and so he only needs to be able to push through 3, so he can have 6 be blocked, which I think with the Dwarven is it Dwarven Dynamo? Dwarven Dynamo gives 4, so he still has the 5. Yeah, so it's a GG for A-Ross, unfortunately. Falling to the Mighty Orcs. Ahmed! Nice! Here we go. But right, so that... Oh, up against Patruka. 14, number 14, folks. We're seeing top 15 legend, and Ahmed not doing too bad himself. Almost in the top 100. I wonder if he's actually, well, he's already got it. You can see for the card back, he's already been top 100, and his opponent has already been top 10.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
But the sorcerer deal card, the little bit that we saw there was good, a good segue until I stumbled around it, because I am going to be playing. I'm going to be making a push for Legendary this month for October. So this is the last day. So I guess the main reason I'm saying this is there will not be a Monday or Wednesday video as it's been released, you know, our friends or even my play, because I'm going to be streaming pretty much every day, 2 hours at least, depending. I mean, if I hit a hot streak, I'll just keep playing and playing and playing until I go cold again. But probably at least 2 hours a day. You know, for me personally, I like to get started early in the morning, but if enough people say, hey, I'd like to, you know, you're streaming, it's nice to have people actually there when you're doing it. I can do it if you stream after 5 o'clock or whatever, you know, my time. So I'll be happy to accommodate that if there's more than, you know, well, I mean, even if there's just one person, if you say, hey man, I'd like to catch one of your streams, but I don't get off work until 8 o'clock or something, I'll be like, all right, I'll you know, tomorrow I'll do a stream at 8 o'clock at night and we'll stream from 8 till 10 or something like that. So I want to be as flexible as possible, because I mean, the bottom line is there's a delicate balance between, for lack of a term, an entertainment venue. This could very, very loosely be considered an entertainment venue, but it is one by definition. I'm doing this for, in theory, entertainment. But there's a balance between doing what you want to do as the entertainer and what the audience wants as the audience. Because if you don't give the audience what they want, they'll go elsewhere, or they'll just lose interest. Because it's not a selfish thing. It's just we're here because, in theory, your channel or your show was offering this kind of content. Like if you're writing a sketch comedy show and you build an audience that loves your sketch comedy, and you start doing dramas, well, you might lose your audience, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's you saying, well, this is what I want to do now, but the reason why you have the audience you have is because you were doing dramas or you were doing comedy, and if you switch it up, then you're not giving them what they want anymore. That's no fun. That is no fun. Playing dragons is great unless your opponent does that. And so, I mean, Patruka hasn't ramped a whole lot, but unfortunately for a deck like this, it's just a matter of time, which I'm sure Ahmed knows all too well. And so I think he's gonna kill the Night Town Lord. Yep. Draw a card. Nice. Yes, yes. Good. Piercing Javelin, nice to have. That's one of the things I think that makes Guildsworn Dragons arguably the best. As much as I love Archer Dragons, Guildsworn Dragons have a wider array of removal options that allow them to get to the end game, where I would say, really, if you don't draw either of your lookouts in Dragon Archer, you're probably screwed. I mean, well, depending. So if you're up against aggro and you don't draw your green, I can't remember his name, whatever lookout, then you're probably screwed, because that's the majority of your life gain, and it's going to take a while for your dragons to be able to get on board, unless you have the perfect draw and the few 2 and 3 drops that you have, actually you draw those. My goodness gracious. Oh, Ahmed, this is well, if he drains first, it's going to make his dragon a 10/10. Nice. Yeah, see, there you go. If you're there. No, it's not big enough. Oh, he's got. There you go. There you go. Yes, yes. Now things are looking okay. Now things are looking okay. Not great, because he could still be removed by the freaking Venom Tongue, but anyway. You've got another way. Jeez Louise, man. It's still the Slay Redoran, Slay Ebonheart, still to this day befuddles me with how often it is able to draw pings in a 75 card deck. You'd think it'd be kind of a rare thing. I mean, you've really got 3. You've got your crossbow and your Archer's Gambits. How many have we seen? Maybe it could just be. Okay, we've seen 2 Gambits and a crossbow. I mean, again, maybe that's not the most crazy thing, but in 75 cards, what are the odds of drawing that many of those pings? Because, I mean, and you've had those games where you've been up against this Ebonheart Sleigh, and you crush them. You absolutely crush them because they don't draw the pings. Like, this deck is dependent on pings, and obviously you've got Squish the Wimpy as another one. So Ahmed is able to stabilize here, but his opponent has ramped quite a bit at this point. His opponent has card draw, of course, and Ahmed is running low on cards, with a Tinkering being the only option at this point, which I was going to say he could survive a trade, but no, of course he has just enough. So Blades Lookout, great. So that was what I was saying. So if you're up against aggro and you don't draw your green Lookout, you're probably done. If you're up against control and you don't draw your... Oh boy, these are just dead cards here. All right, so but as I was saying, the idea is to do things that you enjoy and cultivate an audience, and then in theory, it's a synergistic thing. I'm doing things that I like to do, and you're getting to watch or be entertained by the things that I like to do. But there is a balance where you go, okay, maybe this is not something I want to do, but it's in the vein of what I do or what I had done. Like when I started doing TESL, I wasn't watching people, I was actually playing. And so if people are like, hey, I'd like to see you play again, it's like, well, unless there's somebody, unless the majority of people are like, look, you're so horrible at this game, I don't want to see you play this. I would rather watch K Fluffy and Ahmed and Yum Yum and A Ross. I'd rather watch those folks play these games than watch you because they're better at it than you are. But I've had it suggested that, okay, I'd like to see you play some more. And I say a lot of things. Obviously, my words per minute for these videos is probably far above the average of a normal commentator. In fact, I was told as much. Somebody actually, English was not his first language. I believe it was Spanish actually, but hadn't heard a comment from him before or since. But during a stream, he popped in to let me know that I talk a lot. But he's not wrong. Nice. That's not
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Petruka. Even nicer done. See, hey, it's not in the deck, so you can't really blame him. It's RNG did it. They are immune to lethal too, so no pingy pingies. I mean, he can definitely rage. He's gonna rage. Or squish. Yeah, same thing.
These streets are mine.
Yep.
I smell the stench of the living.
Yep. That's about par for the course, isn't it? And see, this is me now going, so all of that to say, and I tried to say this as cleanly as possible. So Monday, Wednesday, for the foreseeable future, will not be there. But as I said, I will be streaming probably a minimum of 2 hours a day until I get to Legend. So unless I'm mistaken, I haven't actually logged into the game to play it. I haven't done anything like that in a long time, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty darn sure I'm going to be rank 12 because I haven't done any progression in the past couple of months. So I should be starting rank 12, and my goal is to go from rank 12 to Legend. And depending on how the month goes, on how salty I end up getting, on a variety of factors. Obviously, the salt I should be able to control. I have the power over salt. Let's get another A-Ross match in here, see if he can do his Dwemer, see if his Dwemers can do some things. Nice, alright, fresh game. But I think this is not... Well, I know this is not Dwemer, this is his Nixox Assassin, which is crazy in just how darn effective it is. But he's up against either Mayet or a creative way to pronounce or spell Matt, McLovin. So, possibly a McDonald's employee. But you know, when you see Disappointment Dragon, it's either a heavy dragon deck, which in these colors you gotta kind of play whatever dragons you can get. Yeah, it's okay. It's a dragon deck. I was gonna say either that or it's a prophecy deck. And obviously we saw the 2/2 guard that discounts the cost of a dragon, so I figured it was dragon, but I don't think I've ever seen dragon covenant before. Just because Endurance really doesn't have the best dragons. It has some okay ones, but it's just not all that strong. So there's a reason why you know, I would say Guildsworn Dragon and Archer Dragon, and to a degree Dagoth Dragon. But you notice the one thing missing in all of those is Endurance. So, and there's probably another color missing, but it doesn't make my point, so I don't care. But yeah, so that's the deal. So I'll be doing that, and yeah, so depending on how it goes, I might try to push for top 100. I don't know. That's really, I mean, if I think things are going well, if I think I've found my groove, if I think I can maintain it, if I remain gainfully unemployed, and have, you know, and just have that have the option of continue to playing the game for, you know, 2 hours a day, pretty much to the end of the month, then I will make a push for top 100, just because it'll probably be my last hurrah as a player. I thought those days were behind me, but as I said, what I was saying before, obviously I talk quite a bit, and so I say a lot of things. Anything that comes to mind, I'll just say it, and that's bit me in the butt a couple times. Not like bit me in the butt in a bad way, like, oh, it's had dire consequences, but it has resulted in people going, hey, you said you were going to do this, or hey, you said you wanted to see these, like, you know, with you know, some of the shouts. You know, I kind of made an offhand comment, oh yeah, I'd like to see some shout upgrades. That'd be really cool. And then it's like, okay, well, I spent the time making like 25 shouts. You gonna take a look? It's like, oh crap, because I did ask for it. It was just kind of off the cuff. And same thing, I said, oh, maybe I'll play next month. And I think I said that about September. But I was not prepared. And there was a lot going on this month. And in fact, the 3rd day of October will mark the first day that I am actually officially done. Like, everything is done. Aside from hanging a few posters, maybe a few sound panels. The area is done. The space is done. It's as good as I'm going to get it. It still has a little bit of an echo in here, but there's only so much I can do about that. It's a weird room. So it's cool, but it does have a vaulted ceiling, but it's an angled vaulted ceiling. So you have the walls go up to, what is that? Well, on one side of the room, the wall goes up to,
I will not be on the wrong side.
7.5, maybe 8 feet, perhaps. That's 8-foot ceiling. Would be an 8-foot ceiling. Yeah, I think it's probably an 8-foot ceiling. But then it slopes up. There's like an angle, and then the ceiling, which is probably closer to like a 10-foot or 9-foot ceiling. But then it goes all the way straight over, and then so it's kind of a weird. It looks cool. The aesthetics are cool, but when you're talking about reverberation and sound, you want as few angles and corners as possible. Like, the worst reverb you're going to get is if you're talking into a corner. And so the more angles like this you have in the room, and it does this thing where it's like, it goes and then it cuts and it does this and then it goes. It's just, there's a lot of angles, there's a lot of walls. It's not just a square room. So I'm not complaining, but that does mean the acoustics are a particularly... Ooh, Aros. That was not something...
Stendar, give me strength.
See, there we go. Once again, folks, remember, when you implore one of the deities, always be sure to do it when you give them time to actually help you out. Far too many people call on the Four Bears or Azora. She doesn't give a crap about you, folks. I'm just going to put that way. No offense to Azora players. And in fact, I know we've got a new one that actually joined us on the stream, and happy to have him as part of our friend group here. Cold Sin, I believe, is with Azora. But everybody who has ever supplicated to Azora, I have never seen her show up and bail them out. So either she doesn't care, or she is very stringent about, or very strict about when, like, hey, make an appointment. If you want me to intervene on your behalf in this game, you need to come to me in advance.
Stendar,
like what Arid. And see, now Aros is doing it again. Just in case you didn't hear me, Stendar. Hey, Stendar, you listening? Because it's not looking great, Stendar. Stendar, hey, okay, Stendar. Screw you, Stendar. That's going to be the next one. I wish you could have that. I wish you could custom taunt, and as long as it wasn't like vulgar or something, the game would like use AI to actually crank it out. So you're like, Stendar, give me strength. Screw you, Stendar. I'm going to Azora. Azora, give me strength. But he does have, he's got Nixox, he's got Lyneth. So in theory, he's got Mentor's Ring. He doesn't have the Magicka. That's the problem. He's got all the stuff. But trust me, if anybody could pull this, Doppelganger, that would have been a big one. But see, the problem is he can do Mentor's Ring, but he needs. Okay. Oh, see. Problem, never mind. That is fabulous. Look at this. Okay. Wow, Aros. Oh, this is looking pretty darn good. And there we go. He's going to get a charger with drain, I would imagine. Or no, you know, just that's even better. See, this is big brain. I have little brain. Little brain thinks very small because it is small. Where you have Aros brain, Aros is big brain.
Gone. Gone luck. Lead me into battle.
Wow. Gonna grab some more shouts. He is. Jeez. And there's the giant bat. And he's going to be able to finish it off. And this is the brilliant thing. Is by using those shouts usually are kind of your... You don't really want those, the lead me into battle guys. But for this, where Aros needs to be able to charge in... Was he going to do it this turn, or is he going to wait? No, he has to do it this turn. And throw that down. Yes! Aros! This is going to be another GG, I think. Oh, dear. What is he going to do? What is he doing? I mean, it's done. His opponent knows. Matt McLovin is not McLovin this. He is McHating this.
Well fought.
I mean, if that was a...
Someone out there?
Okay, that still doesn't... Yeah. Oh, hey, Ross. Woo! Wow. This episode is sponsored in small part by the Legendary Remnant Discord. We are still seeing custom cards being cranked out in earnest in the Legendary Remnant Discord. Come on over and you can see amazing cards that may spark your imagination or make you think of cards that already exist and maybe figure out a way to play them better, or just really just inspire you to create your own as well. Similar to what we're going to have here in the true sponsor of the video today, which is Final Gambit, a 4-cost action from the brilliant mind of C. City Toker. He's done quite a few of these, but we haven't necessarily seen all of them. I just happened to get this one as I was going through it. I was like, this art really grabbed my attention, and it happened to be from C City, and I think the effect is pretty darn cool. So again, 4-cost in warrior colors, and I don't know if he meant to do this or not, but he's got a good eye for detail. So you got the red and purple of the warrior colors, and if you look at the card art, it is magnificent, a magnificent pull of red and purple. So I don't know, this card, I don't think it could, with this art, it must be in warrior. It's the only way. But the text here: give a friendly creature last gasp, deal damage equal to its power to a creature. So first thing, this is not going face. So 4 costs, and I do like the card art. This is it does look like, based on, it's her. She's got a fallen friend, I guess, there on the ground. She's up against what looks to be a horrible lich, or lich, whatever you want to call it. A skelly boy with a cool coat, and another skelly boy. She's in dire straits right here. Sword's about to be yeeted out of her hand. She's in dire straits. So Final Gambit definitely kind of encapsulates what she would need to do in order to pull off a win here. But essentially, so it's not this can't go to the face, but in theory you can. And it says to a creature. So here's the interesting thing I think about this. You can get, like, let's say I've got, I'm trying to think of the Bog Lurcher. You got the 9/1 Bog Lurcher. Or Lurker. Lurker. Anyway, you know, the 9/1, the big old guy. He is, in theory, if he's lined up against a 4 health creature, and there's another 4 health creature in another lane, you give him last gasp. Oh, well, now wait a minute. It says to a creature. Well, yeah, that would still work, I think. So I think it's random. It doesn't say, well, it says deal damage to a creature. It doesn't say to a random creature, but it doesn't say choose a creature and deal that damage. So based on the card art, I'm not entirely sure if this effect, but in theory, the idea would be, either way, you trade your Bog Lurcher in, he kills the card that's in front of him as it is, it triggers the last gasp, and it's going to deal then 9 damage to another creature on the board, whether you get to choose it or it does it itself. Either way, you're able to do 9 damage to another creature. Obviously, if you get to choose, that's much, much better. But yeah, because it says deal damage equal to its power to a creature, It doesn't say choose a creature. I think the default is, if it doesn't tell you that you can choose it, the default is it's going to do it at random. But it doesn't say to a random creature. And it doesn't say either. This is something that I can't remember who you are, but actually 2 or 3 people pointed this out when I was doing one of Beatrice's shouts, that it doesn't say that it's going to damage an opponent creature or a foe or your foe's face. It's going to do damage to something on the board. It could be you, it could be your creature, it could be theirs. So a little bit of chaotic. So, and I think that's the whole idea of the gambit, is it's not guaranteed to work. It's not guaranteed to do what you want it to do, which I think would be achieved by it just killing an enemy creature, but it doesn't say an enemy creature. It just says deal damage equal to it. So I guess it's kind of like a, I mean, this would be something more that you would see in like a sci-fi thing where it's like, I've got a bomb in my chest, kind of thing, like a Terminator. I've got a bomb. Okay, that was a horrible Arnold, but I got a bomb there and I'm going to blow it up, and it could blow me. Well, in that case, it's definitely going to blow up the Terminator, but it could blow up whatever else, in the vicinity. So it's essentially saying last gasp. So this card is going to definitely die, but the gambit is, in theory, hopefully, that damage is going to hit another creature, but it very well could hit one of your own. I think is what if I'm seeing it correctly, them's are the facts, which I think for that much randomness and the fact that it could hurt your creature as well. Obviously, both faces are protected. Neither opponent is going to take the damage. Although, hey, if we're going to notch it up, rank it up, let's do that. Let's get some bog lurchers down there and some whatever that green 7/5 guy is. Let's get those down there and put the final gambit and see if we can just lop 15 points off our opponent's face. Or it could do it to ours as well. I think you'd have to do that. You have to do that to be fair. But so I think that's the idea of the final gambit. It's really not guaranteed to do what you hope it will do, but it might. I don't know if 4 cost might be expensive for that, because it's really a risk. Like who wants to spend 4 cost, 4 magicka to do? I mean, I guess the idea being really last gambit. But let's think about this: Fell the Mighty and what's the other one? Madness, whatever that madness. I think those are both 4 costs. Why would you trade one of those because if you're running warrior, you've got those in strength. Why would you trade one of those in for, or Mummify, I think, is a 3 cost. So you've got ways to remove creatures with more certainty. Now, granted, they all have their limitations. One of them won't drive mad. They can't. They have to have more power than health and no ward. If it's Fell the Mighty, they have to be over 4 power, and Mummify, it only knocks them down to it. Makes a 2/2 body, but that's only a 3 cost, and it's a prophecy. So I'm just wondering why you would slot this in when it is so very volatile. Now, again, a lot of these custom cards are done just because it's a cool concept or it's a neat idea. It doesn't necessarily mean it's something that would see play. I could see it if you're just going in it's kind of the what do you call that, the casino type deck, hey, let's just let RNG do its thing and see what this game can give me. Then I think something like this would work. But I would be reluctant. I would only want to play this if I could if it at least says that it'll do damage to an enemy creature. Even if I can't choose what that creature is, if I at least know that it's not going to kill my people, my cards, then maybe. But I think that's the gambit. The gambit is, don't know. But in theory, if you're playing this card, you're playing it because you've got no other choice. Like you're facing lethal from. But I mean, the amount of times that would actually be feasible, because a lot of times you're facing lethal because your opponent has 6 cards and they only need 4 of those to connect. So even if you hit one of them with this thing, it's not gonna change your fate. The amount of the situations in which this would actually be helpful, and like I said, the amount of times that you'd be willing to play this over removal that has a much higher, well, it's definitive. Its limitations are definitive, but its advantages are also definitive. Why you would change that for something that is just could very well just hit you and it could screw you over. And that's the thing. You're not always going to play this as a last resort. If you've got that in your hand and nothing, I mean, you could be looking at it going, well, if I play this, I could just as easily ruin my game. I'm in a good position right now. I would like to get rid of my opponent's card, but I don't know if that's what's going to happen or not. So I would want, for a 4 cost in particular, I would want to know, even if I can't say which one, like Cruel Fire Bloom. Cruel Fire Bloom gets the crap played out of it. But it would be but it doesn't have the potential to attack to hit your creatures too. I mean, because remember, you're losing this one in the process. Whoever gets bequeathed with the final gambit is dying in order to trigger this effect. So I think for that cost, I would want it to definitely hit something of my opponents, even if I can't control it, which is still a gambit, I think, by definition. I think gambit is just kind of, you don't know what it is. Final gambit, desperate gambit, whatever it is. I think it may not pay off, but I think hitting a random creature is enough of a question, because you could be like, I need this to take out the big guy. If it takes out one of the little ones, it's just like the Cruel Fire Bloom. How many times you see that people trigger that and it hits the wrong, it hits the one power, it hits the Ungulum when you're trying to hit the Razum or what have you. So yeah, I think in order for this to get any chance to be played, I think it has to be a little less self-saboteur-ish, possibly. It has to have a better, it has to have a net positive, even if you can't channel that. That's my thought. But as I said, sometimes these aren't necessarily created to be viable or to, like, hey, I want this to be in circulation. It's just like, hey, here's a thought. Here's an idea for the card. And you don't want it to be overpowered. But I think with some tweaks, I think it could be. Maybe a 3 cost. Because again, you have to have a creature with decent power on the board. Even if you're running Orc, low to the ground Orc, you're talking 5 tops, really. I mean, unless you have 1 or 2 of, unless you're running a non-orc, but like most of your orcs, their top end is 5. So if you're playing this in warrior with an orc deck, that's not a ridiculous amount of damage to do to a random opponent card. And so I personally, I think 3 cost and to a random opponent creature would be my tweak to it. And the lowering in cost is mostly to make it so it's not competing with other removal in those colors, and because you're not guaranteed to get your value out of it necessarily. Especially at a 4, like a fire. In theory, a 4 cost should at least guaranteed to do 4 damage, and I just don't think that's guaranteed. Granted, in orcs, a lot of them are 3, 4, 5 power. But anyway, that's just my thought. And obviously, you can be running a lot of other cards. Warrior doesn't mean Orc deck. It could obviously be, you could put this in a Sower Revenge type deck, that would be something. It does, not only does it do 5 damage to your opponent's face, but then it does 5 damage. But then it does 5 damage to anything, and it could be your own card. And hey, maybe you want it to do damage to your Sower, but the complete chaos and the anarchy of it, which, knowing Sea City, I could see very well being his desire for this. But I think it's got to have a little more focus. It's because you can have a gambit, you can be desperate and do something that may not pay off at all. It may hurt you, but in theory, you're not going to do something that could very well screw over your friends. This is your last hope for getting something done at your own sacrifice, at your own peril. But if it doesn't work, no harm was done to your friends. Whereas this is kind of like, hey guys, I'm gonna just pull the pin on this grenade, spin around, and throw it, and hopefully it goes in the direction we want it to go. And they're like, no, don't do that. We just don't even throw the dang thing. Like, we hate to see you go, but we'd rather you not chuck a grenade that may very well smack us in the face and blow up in the trench. So. So anyway, those are my thoughts, as discombobulated as they are. Sea City, thank you very much for lending your brilliance to the card creation and bringing us this wonderful, and hey, if nothing else, this probably is the best color matchup that I've ever seen in a card, with the red and the purple. Very, very beautiful in that regard, and terrifying in its implications here. But thanks so much, and let's get you back to those games. And I'm gonna, because I'm making this thing, folks. I'm making GGG a good thing, dagnabbit, because it needs to be. There needs to be more than a GG. When you see something like that, I think that's even better. Gorgeous, good game. That was awesome. So happy to see that kind of thing. When all seems lost, like you realize it was like an 8 Magicka. The turn started with 8 Magicka, and granted he had some pieces that he needed, but that was impressive. And you know that had to feel pretty darn good from his side as well. But yeah, so for this, the month of October, it is going to be.
It's not enough to watch
Maybe
you back these days.
he'll think twice about Parth in the future.
The Hist provides.
Yeah.
I'll lead the way.
That felt good just to me. Like even in my Dragon decks, I won't run Parthenax. I've mentioned that before. And it's not. There's nothing inherently wrong with the card. I've just gotten so sick of seeing his ugly, ugly face. Some dragons, you know, they have cool faces. Parthenax has an ugly face. He deserves to be mocked, scorned, and cast out from all dragon decks. But something about that guy's deck leads me to believe he's not very fond of critical.
I will not be on the wrong side.
Thinking. Oh no. Ouch. I mean, Covenant Dragons, like we said, not really. I mean, it was doing pretty good, to be fair. I mean, it had Aros down to 6 health. And without the. I mean, I think Aros's deck is the only deck that with 8 Magicka could have pulled 8 or 9 Magicka could have pulled off that win. So, to be fair to our McLaughlin friend, you know, he did pretty damn well. His Covenant Dragons did well. You can't. I always hate that when. I don't know about hate that, but it fills me with grief, and I don't know, sadness, which is the same thing. When everything comes down to if you won or not. Now, I granted, you know, it's not the world. The life is not a participation trophy thing. I mean, in a way, it is. To be fair, there are times where life is kicking you in the groin really hard, and if your best is to just survive, then that's fine. Like there are times like that where survival is its own thing. You don't have to be, as long as you continue to participate, you have a chance to turn things around. Whereas if you just give up on it, surprised, he must have something for that Supreme Atromancer in this field lane. Otherwise, I was about to say an Ice Storm.
Try to hit
Yeah,
this.
so not great, but Ahmed does have a crap ton of late game. Marak, Nakreem, Cal Grunteed. Probably Nakreem is going to be what we see here.
Out there,
Just kidding.
not enough to
Just
watch
kidding.
you back these days.
Ahmed is picking up bad habits from Arrakis, where they defy my wise sage, my wise answer. Okay, again, another case where we must have something for the lookout, because you would not silence that guy. You would silence the card draw 100%. And the only thing that will spare him is, right now, Ahmed does not have a dragon he can play next turn. So Johnny Jules, the Rebel. Nut Bunnies. Well, he can at least execute and deny him 1 extra card, if he so desires. Ooh! That is Nakreem at his best. That's the cream of the crop, if you know what I'm saying. I'll see myself out. That was great. That's the value you want to see out of Nakreem. Am I saying his name right? He never gets played. So Nakreem. I think it's Nakreem. I think it is. So kudos. Oh, boo! Boo! Johnny Jules. No, Johnny Jules, no indeed. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Is he going to Marak? That would be pretty sweet. I think he's going to Marak. And he just stole your destiny. Now, of course, we know Johnny has more than one. But, and unfortunately now, Johnny's going to get that card draw because Thade no longer exists. But Ahmed stemmed off the threat. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I guess because it's not reconjuring, it's not bringing it back, it's not playing it fresh. It doesn't put the other one in the other lane, but it seems like, oh well, he's got an answer for that too. It seems. That's all right, because Ahmed has Cal Grunteed, and So this is okay. I'll give it to Johnny. Aside from that one, aside from the Guardians, which he seems like a better player. You don't need that. You don't need that nonsense. But Telvanni Gabos, not something I'm used to seeing. Now Ahmed's in a now Firestorm. Firestorm's going to be really good here, actually. Well, no, it's not. It's going to be okay. That was even better. I didn't see the Ice Storm somehow. So I'm trying to stabilize against the unrelenting assault of a Telvanni that...
Surrender.
Okay. So Calgrantide as a big old guard is going to be the play, I'm guessing, here. Unless Ahmed chooses to defy me once again. Don't you do it, Ahmed. You play that Calgrantide. Thank you. There we go. Yeah. And I do apologize. I think I mentioned this in the first attempted video, and you know, which obviously you're not seeing. Apologies that this is coming in later. Usually, obviously, it's a Monday morning, Wednesday morning release of these videos. Yesterday was a mess. I did mention that. So yesterday was a mess. Last night was a mess. This morning was a mess, but I was able to get through it, and here we go. So this will probably be... We've got one more game after this, I think, and then we will... I'll go ahead and get this edited and get this out to you. So it's kind of weird. I'm talking about this. This is in the past, but I'm trying to talk about it in the future. Oh, dear.
As you wish.
Oh, dear. Okay. Ooh. Very nice. Very nice. Can he... oh, nope. Charger is only 5. I was going to say if he could draw... If he could... if you could pull the Swiftwing Dragon, but I don't know. Could you do Swiftwing if you wanted to? Non-unique dragon, yeah. If he was running Swiftwing, he could have pulled it. However,
Speak, citizen.
Swiftwing only does 5, so he couldn't have finished it off even if he's running Swiftwing, which I don't know that he is. But barring 2 Lightning Bolter and Kano, the 2 Lightning Bolts aren't likely, but the Ancano definitely is a possibility. Okay, well, unless... Yeah, he could have... Oh, crap. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. To be fair, honestly... Johnny Jules, if you're watching this, gorgeous, good game, man. That was pretty darn impressive. That was a very creative way to pull off that win. I feel very sorry for our good friend Ahmed there, who really fought tooth and nail to stabilize, and I think did a fantastic job. But Gabo Telvanni, which aside from the Allied Guardians, seemed to be a pretty solid deck there. Got the job done, and that's the second win. So it just so happens that both of them, you notice that. Our first Gorgeous Good game was off of a creative way of creating wards and using Emmerich for the win.
I will spare your blood.
And that's exactly what happened there. It was another way to, create mass wards and use those to give him more reach than even Ancano himself had. I think what was that? 12 damage? I don't know, something crazy. So, kudos to him. And to folks using Kai King Ember, because you seem like a nice fellow. But we will see if Beaters can take us out on a high note. He's up against it, obviously. Both him and his opponent are at 6, but Hunter, 1302, has kind of given it away with his top 10 card back. So even though he is rank 6, that means absolutely jack diddly squat. Because you can't get the top 10 card back unless you're a top 10 player. So the fact that you're not currently top 10 does not mean that you are not a top 10 player, which means it's going to be a battle for Beaters. But Beaters is no slouch, so he has a chance, and he's running veteran, which is really cool. Now against Gabos, that I don't know. It's going to be tough. But
Have business with House Halalu.
But kudos to Beaters for running. Veteran Orc, I guess, is kind of the thing. Or is it veteran Is Greystone Ravager just in there for what do you call that? Prophecy. I don't know. Could ask, but like I said, I don't want to disturb people during their game. And it'll probably bear out in the next few turns anyway. We'll see if we see more orcs or if we see more prophecies. My gosh. Never ceases to amaze me. Just as I think I mentioned this one. I don't think it was during Yum Yum's video. Or the game that I could not actually show you. Yeah, no, because it was the Evan Hart Slay. It just, again, for the Gobos, what amazes me is they're spitting out these curses and these ways to whittle away at the opponent, and they never seem to run short on cards. It's like, okay, you just play like two cards, two little curses. They're not very big. They don't really do a whole lot, and then you throw it down your Leaf Lurker, and so you've lopped off 2 of my cards, and you've still got 4 cards left in your hand. You're gonna have 5. Like, you're not Gobbo. Gobos just never seem to run out of cards. Like, starving them out is really difficult. Like, you have to draw pretty darn well into as a kind of like a high-end mid-range or a control deck to stave them off.
I have your scent.
I know there's people that do it on the regular. They have no problem with Gobos. I get that, and I envy them. I've never had a good time against Gobos. I've won a few times, but I still, when I see this kind of thing, I'm like, what do you do? What can men do against such hate? Oh, that's what I want to do. I was going to start the video off with a clip of Gan. Oh, you know what? I might do that anyway. Maybe you will have seen that. I was delayed. I probably won't, because I just don't know about using... I think I could do that. I don't know. I probably should. I probably could. But the problem is I don't have my library on this computer, so I would have to dig that. Never mind. So I was delayed. There we go. For those who know Lord of the Rings, you get that quote. And I think that's going to do it for Beater. So maybe we'll do one more game just in the outside hopes that we might get to see a win. Grossly unnecessary. Very, 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 very unnecessary. But hey, if you can't twist the knife, what's the point of living? Am I right, folks? Am I right? If you can't beat your opponent over the head as you get victory over them, why bother playing the game? All right, Drolax, I'm counting on you, buddy. I'm counting on you. All right. Well, not looking fabulous, but gotta go B2W. 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 What is? I don't know. Oh, and it's in... Oh, Drolax. It's not your fault, brother. It's not your fault. I just... Oh, we can't go out on this either. I can't have the last Our Friends video. And this is not the end of Our Friends video, mind you. This is literally just me saying, hey, I got to focus my efforts on trying to climb the ladder. If I was climbing from rank 5, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But climbing from rank 12, I remember going through the Steed last time. It was a beast. No pun intended. Now, granted, I was playing less back then. I think I was only doing like 30. I was doing, I think, 45-minute, 45-minute videos a week. So, in theory, if I'm pretty much at least doing 5 days a week, 2 hours, 10 hours a week, I would like to think I could get there at the worst case scenario by the 24th of October. Worst case scenario, I would like to think, because at that point I'll have played at least...
I will live forever in paradise.
But my voice is still cracking because puberty has evaded me. Why, puberty? Why have you not yet hit me? Is it because I'm invading? Is it because that only weenies invade? I don't know. Paradise. Oh, paradise.
Holding on to anything interesting?
No, they're invade. Why would they have anything interesting? A night to remember, I guess. Now, I can't remember, does she steal a copy or she steals the actual thing? Because this may not be about Drolax. He may want to take Unexpected Arrival. Does it take it? Reveal 3, choose one and draw a copy of it. Okay, so yeah, all right. So yeah, if it was actually take that card, which I think that's the kitty, the Pilfer kitty, which she leaves you like a little artifact at 0 cost that does 1 damage to you. If it was steal it, I think she would have stolen the Unexpected Party or whatever the crap that was. But if all you're doing is a copy, which means your opponent still has that card, then yeah, probably Sigil Keeper is the most effective. But honestly, could have used that Night to Remember on. Oh no, he actually stole the Halfinger from Bertot. Yes, throw down your baby daddy Dagothers, because that's interesting. What do you do with that? Oh, because I think it does work, right? You have the guard, the renegade, Dres Renegade. If you have a Dres Renegade, I think that frees the gate. Like, you can't silence the gate, but I think that frees the gate. Which means either Bertot is just, calling his shot, or like saying, hey, this is coming, or like, I don't know why else you'd do that. That seems kind of a waste of a Mentor's Ring. But if we see a Dres Renegade, then, oh boy howdy. That's a big old... but hey, you know what? That would almost be worth the price of admission. I mean, not for Drolax, of course. He's trying to win. But to see a 16-16 gate get lethal, that'd be interesting. But I don't even know. I haven't tried, because Invade is such a piece of garbage, and I don't like getting garbage on my hands. I've never tried to see if Dres Renegade would actually free the gate. I don't know why it wouldn't. But like, yeah, but if you didn't have Dres to play, why would you?
May your blood satisfy Lord Dagon.
Okay, that's going to be a big old charge with Drain, isn't it? Oh, Drolax. I mean, I should quit now, I guess, but I mean, it's pretty much okay. So there's the kitty that I was thinking of.
Lord Dagon commands your
So. His opponent. Oh, well, hey, Dawn's Wrath isn't bad, but dag nabbit. It's not going to be enough. At least he can nuke that lane and just say, okay, well, you have to beat me with your little piddly lane over there. I can't believe the prepubescent bald chick is going to be the one that actually finishes him off. Steal the gate. Nice. If you could have done that a turn earlier.
I bow to your...
Yeah. Sorry, Drolax. All right. Well, yeah. So gonna try to get another game in here then. Hey, you want to hope, right? You want to hope. All right, Aros, Ahmed, Aros. Well, we got a great win from Aros. Let's see if we can get a great win with Ahmed. 30-30, fresh game. He's up against Wraith GUI. Let's see if Wraith GUI, 323 legend player, has the integrity, the heart, the might, and the awesomeness to not be playing Invade. Let's see. I'm really laying it on thick here.
Kill them all.
No! It would appear, at least at first glance, that Wraith.GUI has achieved his legendary rank by abusing the crap out of a crappy mechanic. I'm going to have to decide. I think for the sake of viewers, tinkering not working good in this deck, needs some changes here. Understood, Ahmed. Well, we saw it do. I mean, let's see. So he engaged with me first, so I don't mind talking at this point. Let's see. Well, you got some good cards off it. Astromancer. But opponent add answers. All right, sorry. I'll get out of the screen now so you can see what's going on. All right, so Piercing Javelin. So he's got an ace in the hole. Well, he's got Execute and Piercing Javelin to take care of the gate when and if it gets
Power
too big for its rolling britches.
the light of the three.
So yeah, and it's really hard. That's what I think one of the challenging things about deck building, especially like if it's one thing if you've got people saying, "Hey, this deck has been vetted. This deck is awesome. Use this deck and you'll be fine." Then it's not quite as sketchy. But when you're creating something new, like Ahmed is doing here, he's like, "Hey, I'm creating this deck. I'm trying to use the tinkering, and it's hard to see if you just hit a string of bad luck with that card or that deck, or if the deck itself is not viable or the card doesn't really fit in." Because like he was saying, hey, it's not working. I need to do some things. But I was like, hey man, you got, because it spit out. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a good card, and then it got you the Supreme Attribute, which was really good. But your opponent had Ice Storm in his hand the next turn, so any other card, or if he was up against a deck that wasn't running Ice Storm, or his opponent just didn't happen to have it, that could have been the game winner. But if they have the exact answer for the card you happen to get, but I mean, to be fair, tinkering is RNG. It is by its very nature RNG. So anytime you start
We must protect our
relying in any way, shape, or form on RNG, you're kind of putting more of your fate into things that you can't control. Sandwash, there you go, nice. Props you don't see very often.
I only need one shot.
Wow. So Ahmed is just getting the business from the game today. It's every card he gets, every card he plays, every step he takes. Ho! Ho! He had the second execute. I was like, woo, using an execute on that, but his opponent is trying to push the damage. And he can't take too much, and he does have two great answers for gates, so it doesn't have to be quite as stingy, I guess, or hesitant about using those tools. But yeah, I think just to, as we in theory. Come on, Ahmed. We're going for that W here. And I have to say, because I've actually got a lot of other videos I got to crank out. Like I said, this week is going to be, I'm finishing up the last bit of the stuff that I've got to do on my end to settle in officially, which means I got to get some videos done for the rest of the week. And knowing, of course, that I'm going to be spending a couple hours a day streaming Legends. Starting tomorrow. So yeah, so you will be temporarily bereft of friends' journeys twice a week, but you will now have me. And if you can't watch it during the stream, obviously the bot will be there, and you'll be able to, it'll kind of be like this. You'll be able to watch some gameplay. It's not going to be the high end you're used to. It's going to be my gameplay, but you will see a tryhard, a salty tryhard, trying hard to get to Legend and perhaps top 100. Trying to get to top 100. I'm not saying I'm going to get there, but that's the other thing. I'm not even sure what the criteria is for that. Like, I'm pretty sure when I get to Legend, I'm going to feel great. I'm going to feel relieved. If I get there. I think I will. But I'm going to have some rough days, I'm sure. But I think 2 hours a day is enough time for even a mediocre player like myself to press into the ranks, especially with the. I mean, we're probably. I would say it's probably not to argue. It's not controversial to say we're probably at 3,000 to 4,000 tops of people that are playing this game with any kind of regularity. So that makes it easier. There's fewer people I have to beat to get to Legend. I mean, I have to beat the same amount of people, but to get into the top 100 anyway. So I don't know, but that's the only thing I haven't done yet. I don't think it's reasonable for a player like me to expect to be able to get to the top 10. Not with what it takes to do that, because it's not only you have to be good, you have to be able to maintain that. You have to be good enough so that you're winning, you continue to win. Like I just think for me a top 10 is not reachable in this current iteration of myself. If I got better at it, or I even wanted to put more time into it so that I'm clawing my victories back, you know, then I might be able to maybe, nah, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I think there's at least 50 players that are just far better than I am. I mean, I would imagine there's 100 players better than I am, but I do think it's at least in the realm of possibility that I could get into the top 100. But like I said, because it's like, okay, if I get there too soon, then trying to get into the top 100 and stay in the top 100 is going to be difficult, because I need to play enough so that if I stop playing it for a little while, I don't just get ranked out by other people getting in. So yeah, so it almost would hurt me to get into Legend too early, because then I have to maintain. Whereas if I get in there with only like 2 days left, then I just have to keep going hardcore and just try to get down to like rank 50 or something somehow. Which, I mean, how am I gonna, like, guys like this? I mean, like Wraith GUI. Like I'm gonna come against people like that. How in the world am I gonna keep my top 100 status? And Ahmed, I think, is a much better player than myself. He's at 133 here at the end of the season. I could see that being my fate. I could see myself getting close, but just not being able to win enough against the right people to get my rank down to like under 100. But okay, there we go. Let's see if I mean, it's not a bad card, but obviously it doesn't work since he's so much low in health. Oh, there you go. All right, well, see, it's not bad. It's not bad, Ahmed.
The day is yours.
Nice. Okay. A little yoinkin'. That's a miracle. Or if you want to pronounce it a different way, a miracle. Huzzah. It's a miracle. So that's a great way to end the video here. So a win against Invade is a win against Invade regardless. Now I'm satisfied. As am I. I needed that W to end the video. Thank you, my friend. And there we go. So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for who have willingly, if not knowingly, lent your amazing play and deck building and everything to this video. And we will be revisiting Friends. I'm gonna say probably once I get to Legendary. Like I said, I don't know that I'm gonna try to push for top 100. Maybe, and it depends on the upper. Maybe I'll start a Patreon, and if we get enough people on Patreon, I'll push for top 100 like it's my job, because it kind of would be at that point. But barring that nonsense aside, I think I'll just, once I crack Legendary, we'll go back to Friends Journeys for the foreseeable future. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep playing. Unless you're playing against me, in which case, if you want to concede, that'd be great. No, I'm kidding, of course. Please don't. I want to earn it. So anyway, keep playing, and I'll be seeing you on the ladder.